In this video, I'm going to show you an example to create a MATLAB function which is used to solve a real-life problem. Okay, so this time what we're going to do is try to estimate the price of a certain volume of gold in New Zealand dollars. Okay, so given a volume of gold in cubic meters, all right, we want to find what is its price in New Zealand dollars. So let's create a function that does that. So we're going to go first to the right directory to create the function. So comma 101 code, which is where I'm going to save all my function, and I'm going to create a new function. Okay, so we have the standard template for functions. Okay, the function keyword here must stay there because it indicates MATLAB that it is in fact a function. And we have output arguments equals the name of the function of bracket input argument. Okay, so it's the same format as y equals f of x for math functions. Okay, so we're gonna give the function a name, gold price, and we're gonna input a volume, which I'm gonna call v, and we want the output, the price. Okay, all right. So in green here, I remind you that this is a comment, okay, with the %. And comments are very useful, okay, especially if you reuse your function later. Well, you will know exactly what you have done. So just give a quick comment explaining exactly what you do in this function. And here what we're going to do is, so it computes the price in New Zealand dollars of a volume of gold, which is given in cubic meters. So you'll see that units are very important to consider in these problems. Okay, so what do we know? Okay, well, because we need somehow to relate the volume to the price, but we don't have all the data here. Okay, there is not just a formula that links one to the other. What we need to know is the density of gold. And if you do a quick internet search, it's going to be given in kilograms per cubic meters. So those are standard units. And I'm going to call the density D, and that's 19.32 thousand. So, and the way to write 1000, which is basically 10 to the power of 3, well, in MATLAB is just E3. So that means 19.32 multiplied by 10 to the power of 3. Okay, these are very useful notations. Okay, now knowing the density, we can get the mass easily. Okay, because the mass is simply the density times the volume. So the mass of gold, which, well, actually it's the mass of the volume V, okay, because this, we want to find which mass has its particular volume that we have as an input, and that's going to be given in kilograms. Well, the density gives basically the mass knowing the volume, so the mass is simply the density multiplied by the volume. Okay, now that we have the mass, how can we find the price? Well, we need to know what's the price of a standard unit of mass, okay, and that can be found online as well. Now I'm not going to use the latest data, but if you I'm going to use the data from 2012, which gives the price per gram of gold, and in New Zealand dollars. Okay, so PPG, which stands for price per gram, okay, is given as $48.44. This is just some value found online. Okay, now that we have the price per gram and that we have the mass of the volume, we should be able to figure out the price of the volume. So price of volume V. which is of course also gonna be in New Zealand dollars. Okay, so the price, which is the output of the function. So finally now we assign the output to something, and what is it gonna be? Well, it's the price per gram times the mass. But be careful, because the price per gram has units of mass grams, while the mass here has units of mass kilograms. So we need to adjust the formula slightly. Okay, well, if the price per gram is 48.44, then the price per kilogram is 1000 times that. Okay, because they are 1000 grams in 1 kilogram. So it's ppg times 1000 times the mass. Okay, and don't forget to put semicolons at the end of each of your lines here if you don't want MATLAB to print each of these lines as it runs the program. Okay, so now that's it, we're done basically. So all we have to do is save, okay, and make sure that the name of the file, gold price, is the same as the name of the function, gold price. Okay, now I can close this window and I'm gonna run the gold price function for some volumes. So what volumes can I take? Well, you can, for example, for fun, try to estimate how much your hand is worth in terms of gold. Okay, so if you measure the volume of your hand, well, you can get an estimate, and a reasonable estimate would be 3.5 times 10 to the negative 4 cubic meters, so E minus 4. All right, so if you do that, you find this result, which basically tells you that your hand is worth 327,550 New Zealand dollars. Okay, now you can try any volume you want. Okay, if you consider like a small cube with side 1 centimeter, so it's 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, so its volume in cubic meter is going to be 10 to the negative 6, so 1 E minus 6. And you find that the volume of such a, the price of such a small volume of gold is close to $1,000. Okay, so you see that gold is still worth quite a bit. Okay, now you can try any volume you want and you will get the corresponding price.